Thank you so much for your attention and thank you so much for coming here tonight. This is a very, very special evening for me, and I cannot believe that it actually happened after so many years. Now my friend Phillip here, which is a client of mine, which is one of the biggest collectors here in Australia, and if I say that, I really mean it. A big collector to me is someone who doesn't just fill his walls or her walls, but it is someone who has storage places and collects according to the collection he is pursuing. And so I know Phillip from the beginning when I came to Australia, and I know before I came to Australia. Because I came to Australia 4 years before we actually finally settled here to make sure that we really like it here. And that was the first artist I was introduced to. And you invited us to come to your studio in Bondi. So that is a little bit of a history to this wonderful artist, Anne Thomson, who is going to give a talk here tonight and take some reference to her friends, David Rankin and Ian Bettinson in particular, who she knows quite well, and interviewed over the phone in London or in the UK and in New York this morning. Phillip Harding is quite amazing. When you came down from Noosa, it was always a delight. It was always a delight to have Phillip come. He's always having this jolly and humorous nature and his amazing, amazing interest in art. So Phillip was one of those fantastic collectors who were very, very open-minded and were buying from me international artists. And that's how our relationship grew. And it pursued and continued over the years. And we've been talking about, I always have these dreams to show some of my clients' collections. So Phillip has taken that step to actually show and let us have a look and a glimpse into part of his collection. And believe me, I'm just saying glimpses. So what you see is really a tiny selection of his amazing collection. So thank you so much, Phillip.
Thank you for that. And before any more is said, I can't tell you how honoured I am to have Conny do what she's done. But I am supremely honoured to have Anne, who has been an artist of extraordinaire, won the Win Prize, just recently won the Queensland Tattersalls Art Club Prize, but Anne has been a great friend and she kindly said she'd come along and say a few words tonight. And, thank you, Anne, for all you've done.
Thank you, and thank you, Phillip, and thank you, Conny, for putting on this exhibition of what seems to be just a fraction of Phillip's work. And I must say, as Conny's talking, I had no idea what a big collector you are, because I don't think collectors say, I've got this and I've got that, they just do it. And collectors have to collect, and we love them. we artists love collectors, and the galleries love collectors, because without them, art wouldn't get where it is. I was just looking today on the computer because I thought, what is the name of the artist who brought Matisse and all those French artists to Russia? And it was Sergei Shukin. Is that how you say it? Anybody who speaks Russian? There you go, Shukin. And what an amazing thing it is for someone like that to discover work that is not discovered by others. And it's the same with Phillip. Someone with Phillip's eye can see beyond what an artist is depicting or painting, and it's beyond painting just something that's in front of them, which everyone can understand, because they say, there's a tree and there's that, and I can see that because I know it already. But what is interesting about the paintings that we see here and upstairs is that we don't know it already. It's not something we can relate to as a poem or something that's been written or something that we can read about. I mean, something we know about because we've read it. It's like music. It can't be translated. It can only be really felt. And that's what I can do because I'm an artist. These artists can do it because they're artists. And Philip, someone of Philip's calibre, has the eye to be able to see that and to go beyond. So I urge you to really look at these paintings that are here. And as I say, it is just a fraction of what Philip's collected. And once a collector gets going, they get going. And I mean, I know he's got very early Ian Bettinsons and then on with these ones. And I must say, these Ian Bettinsons, to me, have come alive. I had seen a lot in your at Noosa, and they were black and white, and I thought there are a lot of dots, but they're not about so much about the dots, they're about the way that the dots sparkle and make that mountain turn into something else. And David Rankin's, he says they're of a certain place, but this is how he's inspired to paint that. The place, which was Lake Mungo, and I don't look at those and I say I can see a lake and I can see the scenery around it, but I can feel what Lake Mungo is about and what that land, that old place of living for Aboriginal people, and all this exhibition touches on Aboriginal art that's gone before us. And he is able to bring out that in his memory because he painted this in England. And so, you know, I'm really excited to see that. And as I stand here, that last, is that no, it's a Rankin, but is it a monoprint or?
It's a lithograph.
It's a lithograph. And it's just sparkling. You know, when I was there looking at it, I thought, I don't know, but now it's sort of saying more. So I think paintings really need to be looked at, not just glanced at and not judged straight away, but to be seen and to be understood in time. You know, sometimes people will have a painting and it changes as they earn it, and as you change the place of the painting, and this, because the Sally Gaboris, which we can't see exactly actually now, are another wonderful thing, and they're done by a woman who I couldn't begin to understand what goes on in her mind, but it's the way she paints and the way she feels her father's land and her land, and she just does it, you know. Oh, wonderful colour. I mean, she just was shown paint, and off she went. And so I think there's a lot of trust and a lot of that other, I call it, in people who paint and people who make things that is not easily explained. Anyway, I spoke to both these boys today, Ian Bettinson from England and David Rankin from New York, and we've agreed to send one another pictures of what we're doing, and I like that sort of communication. It actually may not be the best time in art, but I think it's a really, financially, because the markets and the way what's the superannuation thing, but I think that's when art can be really exciting and things are happening. So art can go, and Kevin Conner said to me, art has gone underground, and we have to work under. But that's when the best things happen, and that's when Shukin was doing his collecting. It wasn't sort of, oh, I must buy that because it's popular, or I must buy that because everyone else is. And so there you are.
Bravo, bravo. Thank you very much.
Anne is, to my understanding, one of the most interesting artists in Australia. And I'm so happy that you are actually inaugurating this show. I really do appreciate everyone who is here tonight who understands the language of art and who has love for it and goes for it. And I really do hope that the virus that caught you are spreading it and it's contagious, please. because what we do miss in Australia is the young generation to collect art and to get caught by that bug. But that is our mission, and I would like to sow that seed so it grows in you and it passes, you pass it on. So thank you so much. Philip, would you like to say something else?
I'll be fairly brief. Some little time ago, I'd had an occasional bump in my life on a number of occasions. And one such occasion in the early 90s, a mate asked me would I like to go for a boat trip. And I learnt to dive. And I took a tiny little book I found at the airport, and it was written, it's called Wanderings by Hermann Hesse, who I'd heard very little of, and I subsequently found very hard to get hold of. So I shared it recently with Conny, and I've given it to a mate or two of mine to read. And there's a poem in it that really struck a chord with me called Painter's Joy. And Hermann Hesse, he was a great writer, but he was a great painter. And unfortunately, the book called Wanderings of 20 different paintings was lost, all the beautiful paintings, and the only things we have is the facsimile of the non-coloured works. But in part, he just said in this, and to me it described very much Sally Gabori's work up in the front area and other things. And this man was wandering after the First War, wandering from Germany, hated boundaries, hated governments and all that sort of thing. He just wanted peace and contentment. And the Painter's Joy, he said, "Be there in my eye another order of things, goes on living, violet ebbs away, and the purple throws on its throne, and I sing my innocent song, yellow by yellow, and yellow next to red. Colour blue turns to the colour of rose. Light and colour leap from world to world, arch and echo away in the surging of love. The spirit reigns, healing all sickness. Green sings out from newborn springs. The world will share in freshness and meaning, and hearts grow glad and light." And to me, that summed up when I looked at Sally Gabori's work. She had never had a lesson. She'd never met a white person. She had never seen a dot painting. She painted about herself, her relationship to her country, her father and his country, to the intricate little detail living on a 12-hectare plot. That was my father's, that was my country, that was my grandfather's, that was his fishing spot, and that's how it related to me. And that wonderful feeling that she got in her work, I was fortunate enough to identify when I first saw it. I don't know for what reason, until I read the words of Bettinson, who did those beautiful Djirrirra paintings and was my artist in residence for a period of time. And the paintings that a mate of mine bought for his office over there. He said, "Structure and perspective have been a constant preoccupation. The dots are there purely to excite the eye, to create a visual vibration, like notes in a musical combination. Colour is another metaphor for music, the play of light and emotional resonance. The eye interprets the space in fragments, a major theme, and developing a larger composition through time." And that's what art is meant to do. Not to put a tree or a bridge or a car or a cow, but to do something that makes you sparkle, makes you feel good, for nobody's other reason than your own. And when it comes to art, be selfish like you should be.
Yes.
And a mate of mine, when he was dying, who was a great friend of a chum, a fellow here tonight, he struggled back towards me, shuffled, and he'd done a lot of great things in his life, and he grabbed hold of me and he said, "Be a little bit more selfish, mate. Look after yourself. And when it comes to art, just look for the things like in music you do that resonate with your soul. And if that's all you get out of this, you've gone home rich." Thank you, Conny. Thank you, Anne.
On behalf of everyone, and particularly Phillip, this is a beautiful bunch of roses for Anne.
No, and as Barry Humphries always said, it's a pity to end up the night without a floral erection.
And in Germany, you always give, there is nothing that you can do without the rose, a la Philip Joseph Beuys. So this is the rose that you're going to have, the Beuys rose. Yes. And you get a kiss.
Thank you. Now, Anne has to go because she's got 6 other speaking engagements.
But I do have a minute, so I'm so glad you all came. Thank you. Lovely to see you.